Hi everyone. Hi Mom. Okay, this is episode 2. We're going to talk ink. And I'm going to demonstrate how I distress my edges on my cardstock or paper. I've had a few questions on that. Okay, so the different kinds of inks that I own. I have StazOn. StazOn is for kind of, how can I describe this? If I'm using something shiny, like a shiny paper, I'm going to use StazOn. It doesn't move. It dries really fast, so there's no blending time at all with StazOn. Say I want to do a tag and I want to blend my colors together, yeah, I wouldn't use this. But if I wanted to stamp an image and then ink over the image, I would use StazOn. Does that make sense? It's not water reactive, so if it gets wet, it won't run. Okay? Now, Tim Holtz, that's a different story. This is probably my favorite ink. I love distress inks. They blend really well together. They're water reactive, so if you're, blending a couple of colors together and then you want an effect, you can splatter it with water or with another spray like Lindy's or Tattered Angels, and you will get a reaction in the ink as well as the color from the spray. So that's why I love those. You can see how I package mine. I keep the pads with the ink. That way I'm not mixing colors. And then you just put it on your blending tool. The other ink I use, I don't use it that much, but I do use it, is the Stampin' Up. And I do it the same way. Just grab another tool here. So I keep my ink pad with it. Now I put a little piece of paper under there because it was getting all over the cover. These pads are wonderful. They can be difficult to open if you don't know how to do them. So you'll see on one end that the name of the color of the ink. That's where you want to push. So turn it towards you and push along that edge, okay? Then it slides up, like, okay, that unlocks it. Then you tip it towards you. I know it's backwards for you. And then push it back up, okay, and lock it. So now you've got a little tray here. So that's where you're going to pull back on to unlock it, slide it all the way down, and then close it and lock it. Okay, now the reason you saw some ink in there is because you can use these for watercoloring. If you squish your pad so that it's touching that side, and then you slide it open again, you're going to have ink. Okay, you can dip a water brush in there and then do watercoloring. Okay, that's how I use my Stampin' Up. Okay, one more. I have Color Box. I have one more. Let's grab that out. I also have the Mementos. I have quite a few of these little teardrop ones, I call them. Now, all of these are, now it says on the back, they're water-based. So if you're unsure, your pad should tell you. If it's water-based, you can't use Copics with it, it'll bleed through. You want a dye ink if you're looking for, stamping an image and then coloring it in. So none of these do that except this one. Memento, what's it called? No, hang on. I have it. I just have to pull it out. Here it is. Yeah, it is Memento. This one I've actually labeled Copic because this is the one that I use with my Copic Now this says right on the back, dye ink. That's what you want, okay? This Memories also is a dye ink, but some are better than others. This one, I don't like it with the Copic. It still will bleed a little bit. I found Memento or Stays On the best. Okay, and then these ones are the Color Box, and they're little sponge ink pads. So they come in different stacks, variety of colors that are meant to sort of go together. Excuse me. Allergies. Okay, now I'm going to show you, first off, what I do and what I don't do. Now, I've seen a lot of people take their ink pad and do that. I don't do that. The reason I don't do that, if you can see on the side here, I don't know if that'll show for you. You see the little fuzzies that are created there? This is like almost like a felt. The more you agitate it, the more pilling you're going to get on your pad. So when you go to put your stamp on your pad, you're going to lift up some of that. Then when you go to stamp it on your paper, you're going to end up with blobs. And that's what you're doing, is you're lifting off the fibers from the ink pad. So I never ever do that. I know it's quick, but you can, however, do it with these because they're a sponge. They don't have the same fibers in them. So that works. Okay. So this is how I distress my edges. 2 different ways, okay, depending on what I'm doing. If I'm just wanting to border something and I want to be quick about it, I'm going to, depending on how thick I want my line, you're going to tip your tool. You don't want it like this, because then you're going to get that. So you don't want that. I tip it and slide it. So you see, get a nice thin line. Slide it. If that's the look you want, great. If you want it more distressed, the angle of your sponge is how you get that look. So I've had a number of comments on how do you get it look so neat. Well, that's how I do it if I want it neat. If I don't want it neat, I'll go like to town. But it is on an angle. So you're getting the green darker on the outside. Now you can do it a different way. The only thing about this is if you're just, say you're working on a tag, I do it this way because I don't care about the back of it. But if you care about the back of your project, don't do that this way, because as you turn your paper, you're going to pick up the ink that's on your craft mat. So you tip your tool on an angle, and I like to hold my tool between thumb and right finger, right? Like that. I don't hold it like this. I don't have control over it. So I hold the side, tip it on an angle, start on your craft mat. So when you're wanting to cover, don't start here. You're going to get a big dark spot that looks like a rectangle. Okay? Start on your craft mat. Now I think I'll widen out a little bit for you guys so you can see it just a wee bit better. Swirl motion, tip your sponge. You see how that works? You get a beautiful edge. Okay, now if I want to add into my tag, I'm going to go like that. If you start on your craft mat, you get that nice swirl. Now watch what happens when I start here. You get the lines. Okay, so some people go like this and then start. Well, that's what you get. You get a big blob because you got a lot of ink on your pad. So the best way is to start off your mat working in towards the center. Like that. In a swirling motion. So you start off as it tips and then you can flatten it out. But tip it and then swirl it. Now if I go and I take another color with the distress ink and I want to add to it, I'm going to go off my mat, swirl it right into my color. So you always want to start off on the mat. Does that make sense to you guys? Grab another one, I'll show you. I got several little pieces of paper here. Okay, swirling, and just go along the edge. And as you hit that edge, it's going to darken the very outside, but blend towards the center. Nice and easy. You can always add, but you can't really take away. So start off gentle, and then as you want to add color, go back, over top, and just keep going until you get the depth of color that you want. There you go. But you see, if you're sliding it around on your desk, you're going to pick up ink. So if you're doing something like this, you're working on a project and you've got all kinds of colors on your blotter here, on your craft mat, which by the way is, everybody should have one. My tip for you, look on eBay for oven liners. They're the exact same thing as the Rangers, and they're a lot cheaper, and sometimes you can get them quite large. So that's my tip for you guys. Okay, so now I've got, my paper covered, but I also have ink here. I might not want to waste that. So what I do is take my water. Let's just close up my ink pads first. And I'm going to spritz my craft mat. Now you see that it is reacting. So then I'm going to take, pretending this is my tag, I'm going to take that and I'm going to swirl it into my ink. Okay, so you're getting a background. Now, I don't have a lot of ink on my craft mat, but when I'm working on all kinds of colors, that's what I'll do when I clean it up. Instead of wiping it away, you can use some of that ink on the back of a tag. And then you've got instant background. Okay, so with these, let's pull a color that actually will show. I would just take them, and again on an angle, start off slow. Okay, it's really light color. Now, I don't like these as much as I would my tool, but if this is what you have, it will work. I don't know if that's showing for you. I probably should have pulled out a brighter color. I would pull out the pastels. Let's see if the pink is darker. Now you can do it this way on your craft mat as well. You get a major mess. You can see the mess, right? So if you don't care what's going on the back, that's fine. So you can do it that way too. It's just not as much contact with the paper. So these ones you can sort of swipe and swipe away like that. But again, it's on an angle. I'm doing it on an angle. All right, so that's the color box. And like I said before, anything with a felt kind of a base, you don't want to directly rub it on your paper. Okay, one more, and using a sponge. Now this is the stays on, so it's not going to move. But lots of times when I've done an album, like a journal, and I've put Mod Podge or decoupage or gel medium, and then realize, yeah, I kind of want to edge it, then use your stays on. Now I don't do my tool with these. I just use these because you can just throw them out, but they last a long time. So having your fingers supporting your sponge, just like that. If your finger's not behind your sponge, then you're getting, there's no support and you're working harder. If you've got your finger behind it, then you're not going over it as much and you're getting ink on it right away. So, for all those people who don't like the way they edge things, just take a bunch of scraps and practice. And whatever works best for you, that's right. There is no right or wrong as far as these go. It really is what you're comfortable with and how you manipulate your tools. These can be washed out as long as they're, water-based. They can be washed out. And if you only want to buy like one pack and share them between, all of your colors, then you can wash them out each time. But after a while, the glue will separate the backing and then they won't stick anymore to your Velcro there. Just another observation. But these last a really long time. I use them over and over and over again. I mean, I'm still using this one and look at it. It's nasty. I think it's almost gray now. But it still works for me. My recommendation for that, though, is because it's breaking down as far as the foam goes, when I do this, and I'm going, pretty good with it, I'm getting little dots. So make sure before you start your work, you just swipe them off your craft mat. Those are my tips, tricks, and tools. Thanks for watching episode 2. Bye.